Hey everybody, if this looks different, it's because it's at night. It's spooky, man. Uh, I was thinking again. At night, I like to really think. I rarely do two videos in one day, so I might not release this till tomorrow. But when you're alone at night and all the vibes have died down and you start thinking about things and you start thinking about the Tao and you start thinking about the world and you start thinking about all this stuff that we're subjected to, the silliness. I flipped on this report that I watch. I think it's X22 or something it's called. And I was listening to all this stuff he was saying, and it was just like endless negativity. If you look at it that way. Now let's look at it this way. This is what I was thinking. What if you don't look at it as negativity? What if you just look at it? What if you just look at it? Okay, and you get into acceptance. I'm going to talk about some things that are Tao, that now that I've been reviewing a little of it for you people, I'm kind of like springing more of it on you. I have a method in my madness, you know that. If you look at the world in a Taoist or a Native American Taoist point of view, we have to talk about acceptance, okay? We have to talk about acceptance. So what do we see? Well, we see a world that's basically Looney Tunes. I mean, it's, if you live in America or anywhere for that matter, I guess we have to get into the acceptance of we live in a Nazi state, okay? First of all, we have to get over the shock of the reality, okay? And the reality is something that we want to deny all the time because we're like, oh, say it can't be true, you know? It's like acceptance of any hard fact. You know, you accept it. You accept the fact that we live in a totalitarian Nazi state. Okay? Now, once you accept that fact, what do you do then? And we know the reason that this fact exists is because people have been like sleepwalking, okay? We know that. That's why this fact exists, that we live in a totalitarian state, Nazi state. Hitler out there, only he's black. I don't know. You tell me. But we do live in a totalitarian state. There is no doubt about it. And we do live in a police state. And we do live in a restrictive environment. That didn't used to be that way. But once you accept that, then what do? Once you accept the fact that we're already there and that the world's already there, and it's already, you let the Tao rise. This is what I think the Tao rising means, is that you accept the fact that that's what it is. And then after you get into acceptance, then you can figure out ways to circumvent. Okay, because when you live in a totalitarian state or a Nazi state or a police state or an Orwellian state, what do? Well, if you're in it, you got to figure out a way to circumvent the things you don't like about it. And there's always ways to circumvent the things you don't like. Keeping a low profile, doing things on the sly. Wouldn't be the first time, would it, people? Didn't the French resistance fighters have to go through things? Didn't anybody that opposed authority So you don't oppose authority. You let the Tao take care of it. You let the Tao rise. You just look at it like you would a chessboard or you would a game. Okay? You look at it as the game of life. Now if you do that, if you look at it like the game of life, and this is what they're doing right now, and the black-hearted ones have overtaken the light-hearted ones, and it just becomes a show. It just becomes a picture of futility. But you don't want to get caught up in that futility. Do we want to get caught up in that futility? No. We accept it. We just accept it for what it is. It's like you have to accept black when it's black and white when it's white. We don't have to like it to accept it. We don't have to like any of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be circumventing, figuring out ways to circumvent what's upon us already because of the dumbed down populace. It's upon us. Okay? Because of the dumbed down populace. But we accept that too. And you know what? We also accept the principles of the Tao, which say that it's got to come down. There's no way that it's not going to come down. It's as sure as natural law that when a state gets so totalitarian or Nazi-like or police state, it flips. You see it everywhere in the world. It just flips over, whether it's a revolution, a coup d'etat, or whatever, it's going to flip. So get ready for the flip, people. Get ready for the flip. Just accept it and get ready for the flip. It'll come. Accept what's here now and accept the fact that it's going to flip and it's going to be okay. If it has a violent flip or a chaotic flip, what would a Taoist do? Does a Taoist get up in arms about everything? No, a Taoist just looks at it like a painting. You know? So the painting dries, and it dries and dries and gets so dry that it cracks and peels, and then it just falls away, and guess what? There's another painting behind it. And that dries and cracks and peels, and that falls off, and guess what? There's another painting behind that. That's how life is. That's how the Tao arises. That's how, when I talked about the 10,000 things that proceed from the Tao, from the unknowable, from the darkness, the 10,000 things proceeding is just what we see all around us. It's, don't make it good or bad. Just make it what it is. It just is what it is. And this will help you get through, you know, the feeling of you being in a state of panic, or you being in any kind of state of fear, or you being in any kind of state of anxiety about things that are going on around us. Let the world form around you. That's what that saying means, that Taoist saying, the I Ching, that let the world form around you. Let the Tao rise. Let the Tao take care of it. And it will take care of it because it's, again, it's natural law, people. Yin eventually must turn to yang. Yang must turn to yin. We're in yin right now, and it's about ready to turn to yang. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to watch it. Aren't we lucky? Seriously. We got to look at it like, hey, you know, we can look at this with another view of the world, another kind of view of the world, the sage's view. This is what I'm explaining to you. This is the sage's view of the world. You know, the old Taoist monk that has the long beard, okay, and the long gray hair and the black suit and the sitting there, you know, in a meditative position, a sage, okay, somebody that's wise, just looks at it all like for what it is. He lets the world form around him. He doesn't try to control the world or do anything with the world because you can't do anything with it. The Tao is the mother of the 10,000 things. And we got 10,000 things going on around us, and those 10,000 things happen to be chaotic. Chaotic. Get it? You get my drift here? It's just we live in chaos and we accept it. And it doesn't matter whether we live or die or imprisoned or in dark and light. If you back off and you just take the look of the sage, what can they do? How can they hurt a sage? How can they hurt your spirit? How can they hurt you? You only hurt yourself by worrying about shit, getting involved in it. Can you see that? Because I hope you can. Now, if you want to get involved in it, nobody's saying you can't. That's part of the Tao too. Some people feel one way one day and some people feel another way the next day. And because there's changes every day and there's different kind of intensities every day. Okay, and so it's going to affect people. You're going to change. You're going to say one thing and then you say another, and then you're going to have one influence and another influence. It's all good. There's nothing bad about it. Don't you wish Thunder did more night videos? No, actually, I think I like thinking out loud, and I like thinking about ways that we can help ourselves lessen the blow of reality, or whatever you want to call it, Maya, illusion. But fighting it definitely doesn't help. Fighting the fact that, being in denial of the fact that we live in a Nazi state and they're all around us, you can't be in denial of it. You maybe cannot know about it, like a lot of people don't. But once you do know about it, you either go nuts worrying about it, or you just look at it like a sage and you go, yep, that's what it is. And you learn how to circumvent, okay? Because there isn't anything that can't be circumvented. Let me tell you another little secret about what the Taoists think about water and what the Chinese think about water. I think it's called Kan in the I Ching, K-A-N. Water. Water seeks the low places. Okay? Water seeks the low places. So sometimes you have to be like water, or sometimes you have to have mind like water, or mind like wind. Mu Xin, no thought, no mind. Not giving any mind to it, not giving it power. And the water that seeks to the lower levels is you seeking out any way that you can, just like water flowing into different places. All you can erode. You can slowly erode and wear away, just like wind wears away mountains and water wears away dams and overflows banks and fills up. That's what the Tao rising is. You have to let the Tao rise and become wise. The world, when you look at it this way, is almost cartoon-like. It's almost cartoon-like. It is cartoon-like. And so why worry? If it's a cartoon, even if you like, on Saturday mornings when you were a kid and you watched the cartoons and you had the cartoons that were one guy beating up on another, which they always did, the Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny, whoever. And then you had the other kind of card. It doesn't matter. It's all a card. It's just like that. It's funny, really, when you look at it. It's hilarious. And even if it, we had 100,000 volcanoes erupt and nuclear war, and we get disintegrated and turned into ash or whatever, we get to watch it. We have front row seats, people. You know how much you have to pay for front row seats? VIP? I'm serious. We have front row seats to the greatest show on earth, man. That's how I have to look at everything. You can't get all caught up in it, like the drama of it. Oh my God, those people are suffering. Really? There's a book called Illusions by Richard Bach. Illusions, Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. One of the greatest books ever written, about a barnstorming pilot that shows up and meets this other barnstorming pilot, and the second barnstorming pilot notices that the first barnstorming pilot doesn't ever get bugs on his windshield. That's because he's the Messiah. Oh, it's great. That's the kind of attitude you have to have. Because there's a scene in that book where, I'm not going to give it away, but if you haven't read that book, you should read it by all means. It'll change your life. It's one of the most Taoist, Buddhist, Zen books I've ever read. And the guy that wrote it's a pilot, so I'm biased, Richard Bach. He also wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull and many other books. But anyway, that's just kind of like my thoughts for this evening, is this like, hey, you know what? Why worry about it? It is what it is, isn't it? Can we change it? No. Not unless we strap on a bandolier and get out on the front line, and then you're just partaking in the movie, in the show. That's cool too. Do that if you want to. There's nothing to fear about this at all. I finally came to the conclusion, I've known that for quite some time, but it's just, you get caught up in fear, people. I see other people getting caught up in fear. The financial collapse, man, it's coming. I've said that too. I said it's going to be a horrific thing. It's going to be like a great tribulation. It's going to be like World War III. But again, like I said before, if you get vaporized along the way, we got front row seats. Hell, let me drive that point home. How many people get to see the world vaporize? Okay, people. They're going to call me the laughing Taoist here pretty soon, or the smiling Taoist, or the Native American smiling Taoist, or I don't know. You tell me. I'm going to leave it there. I know the lighting's strange. But I'm strange tonight, and right on it too, to what I'm thinking. I'll talk to you guys later. Much reverence to you all. I'm out of here.